Ladies, a lot of people think a man's sexual desire is simple, that it's automatic, visual, and easy to trigger. They think it starts and ends with the body, but that's not the truth. And any man who's honest with himself will tell you that what really arouses him goes much deeper than what he sees on the surface. A man's desire is connected to how a woman makes him feel about himself, his identity, his confidence, and his sense of purpose. Long before anything physical happens, his mind and emotions are already involved. What truly awakens a man is respect. When a man feels respected by a woman, something powerful happens inside him. Respect makes him feel capable, strong, and valued. When a woman acknowledges his efforts, believes in his abilities, and doesn't constantly question his worth, his attraction naturally grows. A man wants to feel like he matters, like he brings something important into your life. When he feels that, desire follows without force. Respect is not loud, and it's not fake praise. It's shown through tone, trust, and how you speak to him when things aren't perfect. Confidence in a woman is another major trigger for a man's desire. Not arrogance, not showing off, but quiet self-confidence. A woman who knows who she is, who doesn't beg for attention or chase validation, creates mystery and attraction. Men are wired to pursue. When everything is too easy, desire weakens. But when a woman has her own life, her own standards, and her own happiness, a man feels drawn in. He wants to earn her time and presence. That chase, that sense of earning, fuels desire more than people realize. Emotional safety is also deeply connected to a man's attraction. A man may not always say it, but he wants a place where he can rest emotionally. When he feels like he can speak freely without being judged, criticized, or made to feel small, his bond with you strengthens. Desire grows when a man feels understood rather than managed. Constant pressure, nagging, or comparison shuts a man down emotionally, and when emotional walls go up, desire fades with it. A woman's energy plays a huge role in how a man responds to her. Peace is attractive. A calm presence, a warm smile, a soft tone, and positive energy create a space a man wants to return to. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or never speaking up. It means choosing wisdom over chaos. When a man associates you with peace rather than stress, his desire deepens. He starts to crave not just your body, but your presence. Another powerful element is femininity, not in the sense of weakness, but in the sense of softness and strength combined. A woman who can be gentle yet firm, caring yet confident, creates balance. Men are naturally drawn to that energy. It makes them want to protect, provide, and pursue. When a woman embraces her natural femininity, without trying to compete or control, it awakens something instinctive in a man. Mystery also fuels desire. When a woman doesn't reveal everything at once, when she allows layers of herself to be discovered over time, a man stays intrigued. Oversharing, oversplaining, and always being available can slowly reduce attraction. Desire grows in space. When a man has room to miss you, to think about you, and to wonder, his attraction intensifies naturally. Appreciation is another overlooked factor. A man who feels appreciated for what he does, not just what he provides, feels deeply connected. Simple acknowledgement of effort goes a long way. When a man feels seen and valued, he becomes more emotionally and physically drawn to the woman who makes him feel that way. Desire thrives where appreciation lives. Trust is also essential. When a man trusts a woman and feels trusted by her, his guard comes down. Suspicion, constant questioning, and insecurity create distance. Trust creates closeness. A man wants to feel that he is chosen, not constantly tested. When trust exists, attraction feels safe and natural rather than forced or tense. A woman who takes care of herself emotionally and mentally also increases a man's desire. Inner stability is attractive. When a woman is emotionally balanced, not reactive to everything, and able to communicate calmly, a man feels more connected. Emotional maturity makes a man feel secure, and security allows desire to grow without fear. Finally, a man's desire is strongest when he feels respected, inspired, and at peace in your presence. When attraction is built on confidence, emotional connection, appreciation, and positive energy, it goes beyond the physical. At that point, desire isn't just about the moment, it becomes about wanting to stay, invest, and commit. That's when a man doesn't just feel aroused, he feels attached, motivated, and deeply drawn in. A man's sexual desire is often misunderstood because people reduce it to something purely physical as if it's switched on by sight alone. But the truth is, what truly awakens a man runs much deeper than appearance. Desire grows in the space where emotion, identity, and connection meet. A man doesn't just respond to what he sees. He responds to how a woman makes him feel about who he is when he's with her. One of the strongest triggers of desire is the feeling of being respected. When a man feels respected, he feels powerful, capable, and appreciated. Respect shows up in how a woman listens to him, how she speaks to him in public and private, and how she handles disagreements. A man notices when he's trusted to make decisions, when his efforts are acknowledged instead of dismissed. That feeling of respect feeds his confidence, and confidence fuels desire. Without respect, attraction slowly erodes, no matter how strong it once was. A woman's self-worth also plays a major role in a man's attraction. When a woman knows her value, she doesn't chase, beg, or over-explain herself. She doesn't base her happiness on a man's attention. This kind of independence creates intrigue. A man becomes curious because he senses that her life is full even without him. That sense of choice, knowing he is wanted but not needed, intensifies his desire to pursue and win her over. Emotional connection is another powerful driver. A man may not always talk about his feelings, but he feels deeply. When he senses that a woman understands him without trying to change him, he becomes emotionally attached. Desire grows when he feels accepted rather than corrected. If every interaction turns into a lesson, a complaint, or a comparison, emotional closeness disappears. But when he feels emotionally safe, attraction becomes stronger and more natural. Peace is one of the most underrated qualities that increases a man's desire. A calm presence has a powerful effect. When man associates a woman with peace rather than tension, he wants to be around her more. It's not about avoiding serious conversations, it's about how those conversations are handled. A woman who communicates calmly, who doesn't escalate every issue, creates an emotional environment where desire can grow without pressure. Femininity also plays a significant role, not as weakness, but as balance. Softness combined with strength draws a man in. When a woman is nurturing without being controlling, supportive without losing herself, a man feels inspired to step up. This natural dynamic awakens his protective and providing instincts, which are closely tied to attraction and desire. Mystery keeps desire alive. When everything is revealed too quickly, attraction loses its edge. A woman who allows her personality, thoughts, and emotions to unfold gradually keeps a man engaged. Space allows longing to grow. Constant availability, instant replies, and oversharing remove the anticipation that fuels desire. When a man has room to think about you and miss you, his attraction deepens. Appreciation strengthens desire in subtle but powerful ways. When a man feels genuinely appreciated, he becomes more invested. It's not about exaggeration or flattery, but about recognition. When his efforts are seen and valued, he feels connected. That connection often translates into stronger physical and emotional attraction. Trust is another foundation of desire. A man wants to feel trusted and to trust in return. Suspicion, jealousy, and constant questioning signal insecurity and push him away emotionally. When trust exists, a man relaxes. In that relaxed state, desire flows naturally. He doesn't feel like he's under examination, he feels chosen. A woman's emotional stability also affects a man's attraction. When she manages her emotions with maturity, a man feels secure. Overreacting to every situation creates emotional exhaustion, and desire struggles to survive in that environment. Calm communication and emotional balance make a woman more attractive because they create safety and predictability without boredom. A man is also deeply aroused by inspiration. When a woman encourages him, believes in his goals, and supports his growth, he feels motivated. That motivation often translates into desire. He associates her with progress and purpose, not limitation. Feeling inspired by a woman makes a man want to be closer to her, both emotionally and physically. In the end, what arouses a man the most is not a single trait, but a combination of respect, confidence, emotional safety, peace, and inspiration. When a woman brings these qualities into a man's life, his desire moves beyond the surface. It becomes deeper, more intentional, and more lasting. A man's desire is often talked about as if it is automatic and shallow, but in reality, it is deeply connected to how he experiences himself around a woman. Desire is not just a reaction to appearance. It is a response to emotional signals, energy, and connection. A man may notice beauty first, but what truly awakens and sustains his desire is what happens beyond the surface, in the way a woman interacts with him and the emotional atmosphere she creates. One of the most powerful elements that fuels a man's desire is the feeling of being respected. Respect makes a man feel competent and valued. When a woman trusts his judgment, listens without immediately correcting him, and acknowledges his efforts, she speaks directly to his sense of identity. A man wants to feel that he adds value to your life, not that he is constantly being evaluated or fixed. When respect is present, desire grows naturally because a man feels safe expressing himself and stepping into his masculine role. Another key factor is a woman's sense of self-worth. A woman who values herself does not rely on constant reassurance. She does not revolve her entire world around a man. Instead, she has her own interests, passions, and sense of direction. This independence is deeply attractive because it signals confidence and emotional health. A man is drawn to a woman who chooses him, not one who clings to him. That sense of choice ignites desire because it makes him want to earn her time and attention. Emotional safety plays a major role in a man's attraction. Even if he does not openly admit it, a man wants a space where he can be himself without fear of judgment. When a woman reacts with understanding instead of criticism, he feels accepted. Constant negativity, comparison, or emotional pressure causes a man to shut down internally. But when he feels emotionally safe, his guard lowers and his attraction deepens. Desire cannot thrive where a man feels constantly attacked or misunderstood. Peace is another powerful trigger of desire. A calm and balanced presence has a strong effect on a man's emotional state. When a woman brings peace rather than chaos into his life, he begins to associate her with relief and comfort. This does not mean avoiding difficult conversations. It means handling them with maturity. When a man knows he can talk through problems without drama or escalation, his desire grows because he feels at ease in her presence. A woman's energy is just as important as her words. Warmth, kindness, and positivity create an inviting atmosphere. A genuine smile, a soft tone, and a relaxed demeanor make a man feel welcomed. Men are often under pressure in the outside world, and when a woman provides a space where he can relax emotionally, he becomes more drawn to her. Desire increases when a man feels that being with you is a relief, not another source of stress. Femininity also influences a man's desire in a deep way. This is not about weakness or submission, but about softness combined with inner strength. A woman who can be gentle yet confident creates balance. This balance naturally awakens a man's protective and providing instincts. When a woman embraces her femininity without trying to control or dominate, she taps into something instinctive in a man that fuels attraction and desire. Mystery is another important element. Desire grows when there is space to wonder and discover. When everything is revealed too quickly, attraction loses its depth. A woman who does not overshare every thought or emotion keeps a man intrigued. Space allows desire to breathe. When a man has time to miss you, think about you, and imagine you, his attraction intensifies. Constant availability and overexposure can weaken that sense of longing. Appreciation strengthens desire in subtle but meaningful ways. A man who feels appreciated feels motivated. When a woman acknowledges his efforts, no matter how small, she reinforces his sense of purpose. This appreciation creates emotional closeness, and emotional closeness often leads to stronger physical desire. A man wants to give more to a woman who notices and values what he does. Trust is another foundation of desire. When a man feels trusted, he feels respected. Constant suspicion or jealousy sends a message that he is not enough or not reliable. That creates distance. Trust, on the other hand, allows him to relax and open up. When trust is present, desire feels natural instead of forced. He feels chosen, not monitored. A woman's emotional maturity also plays a significant role. When she can regulate her emotions, communicate calmly, and avoid unnecessary conflict, a man feels secure. Emotional instability creates exhaustion, and desire struggles to survive in an environment of constant emotional ups and downs. Stability does not mean boredom. It means consistency and reliability, which are deeply attractive qualities. Inspiration is another powerful driver of a man's desire. When a woman believes in him, encourages his goals, and supports his growth, he feels energized. He associates her with progress and motivation. This connection strengthens his attraction because he sees her as someone who adds value to his life rather than holding him back. A man desires a woman who inspires him to become better, not one who makes him feel inadequate. A man is also aroused by authenticity. When a woman is genuine and comfortable being herself, he senses it. Pretending, manipulating, or trying too hard creates emotional distance. Authenticity builds trust, and trust deepens attraction. A man wants to feel that what he sees is real, not a performance. Ultimately, a man's desire is awakened and sustained by a combination of respect, confidence, emotional safety, peace, appreciation, and inspiration. When these elements are present, desire moves beyond the physical and becomes something deeper and more meaningful. It turns into a longing not just for closeness, but for connection, presence, and continuity. A man's sexual desire is often spoken about in simple terms, as if it is driven only by physical attraction, but the reality is far more layered. Desire is shaped by emotion, perception, and experience. What truly awakens a man is not just what he sees, but how he feels when he is around a woman. His desire grows when he feels aligned with her energy, understood without being analyzed, and valued without being pressured. One of the deepest triggers of a man's desire is the feeling that he is respected. Respect touches a man's identity at its core. When a woman believes in his ability, listens to him without immediately challenging his perspective, and trusts his intentions, he feels validated. This validation builds confidence, and confidence fuels attraction. A man wants to feel that he is enough as he is, not constantly being measured against expectations or corrected into someone else's vision. A woman's self-respect and inner stability also play a major role. When a woman knows her worth, she moves differently. She does not chase approval or beg for attention. She is present but not desperate. This balance creates attraction because a man senses that her interest is a choice, not a dependency. Desire intensifies when a man feels that he is wanted, not needed to fill a void. Emotional connection is another powerful element. A man may not always express his emotions openly, but he feels deeply. When he senses that a woman understands him without trying to control him, his guard lowers. Desire grows in emotional safety. If a man feels that every conversation will turn into criticism or conflict, he withdraws emotionally. But when he feels accepted, heard, and supported, his attraction becomes stronger and more natural. Peace has a strong effect on a man's desire. A calm presence is deeply attractive. When a woman brings peace rather than chaos into a man's life, he begins to associate her with relief. This does not mean avoiding difficult conversations, but handling them with maturity and grace. A man wants to feel that he can come to you without bracing himself emotionally. That sense of ease strengthens both emotional and physical attraction. A woman's energy speaks louder than her words. Warmth, kindness, and emotional balance create a space that draws a man in. Men often carry stress from the outside world, and when a woman offers emotional calm rather than added tension, she becomes a place of comfort. Desire grows when being with you. Feels lighter than being away from you. Femininity, expressed as softness paired with strength, deeply influences a man's attraction. This is not about submission or weakness, but about balance. A woman who can be gentle without losing her boundaries creates harmony. This harmony awakens a man's natural instincts to protect, provide, and pursue. When femininity flows naturally, it invites desire without effort. Mystery keeps desire alive over time. When everything is revealed too quickly, attraction loses its depth. A woman who allows herself to be discovered gradually keeps a man curious. Space creates longing. When a man has room to miss you, to reflect on moments with you, his desire grows. Constant availability and emotional overexposure can weaken that sense of anticipation. Appreciation has a subtle but powerful impact on a man's desire. When a man feels appreciated, he feels motivated. Acknowledging his efforts, noticing what he does, and expressing gratitude build emotional closeness. This closeness often deepens attraction. A man naturally desires a woman who sees and values his contribution to her life. Trust is another essential element. A man wants to feel trusted and to trust in return. Constant suspicion or insecurity creates emotional distance. When trust exists, a man relaxes. In that relaxed state, desire flows more freely. He does not feel watched or tested. He feels chosen.